Chapter 2 The House of Shadows. The butler's body lay twisted on the floor, blood spreading wide across the boards. His eyes stared blank, glassy, and cold, the kind that never blink again. I'd seen corpses before, plenty of them, but this one reeked of secrets. The mansion held its breath, and I knew I wasn't alone in it. I crouched low beside him, checking pockets with quick fingers trained by habit. He carried only matches, a silver key, and a pack of lucky strikes. The key was worn smooth, teeth jagged from use, old enough to matter. I slipped it into my coat, a puzzle piece waiting for the box. Rain hammered harder against the windows, drowning the streetlights in silver streaks. The storm rattled the house like bones in a gambler's cup, restless and mean. Lightning cracked white across the sky, throwing long shadows across the paneled walls. For a moment, the study looked alive, pulsing with every flash of fire. I moved through the mansion, quiet, steps soft against carpets thick with dust. Every doorway stretched wide, every corner breathed heavy, and silence pressed down hard. The kitchen smelled of old grease and metal, pans hanging like sleeping bats. On the counter sat a glass, rim stained red like painted lipstick kisses. The stink of copper hit harder here, thicker than in the study behind me. I checked the sink, and the drain glistened with dark clots like spoiled wine. Strands of hair, tangled there, black, curled, and still wet, was something too fresh. My cigarette did little to mask it, but smoke steadied the nerves. The match flared as I lit up, a small sun in that dark kitchen. It caught silver on the wall, reflecting off a crucifix hung crooked. The Christ figure leaned sideways, nailed to the cross like he'd lost hope. Even saints looked tired in this house, worn down by the weight of sins. Upstairs, I heard floorboards creak, slow steps dragging across the ceiling. I cooed the match quick, drew my gun, and stood still as stone. The steps paused above, silence swallowing the house whole, heavy and choking. Then a door slammed sharp, the echo crashing down like broken glass. I climbed the staircase, careful, each board groaning like an old man's bones. The hall stretched long, lined with portraits painted of men with dead eyes. They stared down with smug faces, proud jaws, and lips that knew no mercy. Their gaze followed me like a pack of hounds, hunting something already bleeding. The first door opened into a bedroom, perfume still thick in the air. Clothes lay scattered across the floor, ripped like someone left in a hurry. Sheets hung torn from the bed frame, twisted like snakes in a struggle. The mirror above the dresser was cracked, showing 20 broken versions of me. Lipstick smeared the glass in arcs, like some woman scrawled messages in a rush. A single glove lay on the floor, leather soft, perfume clinging, fresh and sharp. I picked it up slow, turning it over, fingerprints stained into the lining. It smelled like her, Evelyn Crane, though she swore she hadn't been upstairs. The bed told another story, one written in bourbon, smoke, and sharp blood. The scent crawled out strong, metallic, a memory of violence still alive. Someone had bled here too, though less than in the marble study below. This room was a stage, and the curtain hadn't fully dropped yet. I stepped back into the hall, pistol drawn, ears open, heart ticking quick. The boards groaned again, farther down, past doors closed like mouths hiding secrets. The air grew colder, heavier, thick enough to choke every breath I drew. I followed the sound, each step pulling me deeper into the mansion's throat. The last door stood locked, brass handle polished bright against chipped wood. My hand found the silver key, sliding it smooth into the waiting hole. The tumblers clicked, sharp, like whispers, spilling secrets meant for no man's ears. The door swung inward slow, and the smell hit me like a freight train. The stench of blood, sweat, and wrought hung thick, choking every inch of air. The walls closed in tight, shadows crawling like roaches in the gutter. Lightning flashed through a narrow window, cutting the dark with a brief knife. And in that light I saw chains bolted deep into the stone floor. A chair sat in the middle, leather straps stained dark with old blood. Rust ate the buckles, but fresh stains glistened, bright as spilled wine. Beside it lay iron tools, blunt and cruel, meant for pain, not work. I'd seen interrogation rooms before, but this was something fouler, something private. I circled slow, smoke curling from my lip, pistol steady at my side. My shadow bent long against the wall, crossing chains that clinked when I breathed. In one corner sat a crate, broken open, stuffed with stained rags and rope. Every inch of this room screamed cruelty, like someone had bought and sold suffering. Then my eyes caught something worse, hidden in the farther stretch of black. Another chair sat waiting, straps clean, cushions fresh, polished like new money. And it wasn't empty. Someone sat bound there, head slumped forward, body still. The storm raged outside, but the real thunder had just started inside. The figure in the chair shifted slightly, a faint groan spilling into the dark. I froze, pistol raised, every nerve wired tight, sweat stinging in my eyes. Lightning cracked again, painting the room in white fire for a heartbeat. The head lifted slowly, and a man's swollen face looked back at me. His lips were split, blood caked dry, but his eyes still burned with life. Chains rattled as he tried to speak, words broken, whispers thin as paper. I moved closer, slow, steady, every shadow in the room stretching long. The name he gasped was hoarse, but Claire Crane. It wasn't the husband I expected, it was his brother, bruised beyond recognition. He trembled in the chair, fear etched deep, like he'd lived 100 beatings. The tools on the table weren't just for show, they'd carved truth into his skin. And still, he begged me not to trust Evelyn, voice desperate, eyes wide. Before I could answer, thunder shook the house hard enough to rattle teeth. Somewhere above, glass shattered, the sound sharp, like a gunshot in the dark. The prisoner's eyes flared wide with terror, pulling at chains that clanged loud. And I knew then, whoever had started this game was still inside the house. The storm howled through the broken window, whipping curtains like frantic ghosts. I scanned the shadows sharp, waiting for a face to show itself in the dark. The prisoner strained against his chains, voice breaking with every gasp for air. His fear wasn't just pain, it was knowing something worse was coming. I kept my gun steady, ears sharp, breath slow, eyes on every corner. The house groaned like it was alive, boards creaking, pipes moaning, air thick. A smell of smoke drifted faint, curling from somewhere deeper in the halls. Someone had lit a cigarette, and they weren't worried about being found. The man in the chair shook his head, whispering words I barely caught. "Too late," he croaked, voice raw as gravel. "She brought them here already." I wanted to ask who, but footsteps cut me off sharp from the hall. They were slow, deliberate, heavy like someone walking with all the time in the world. I tightened my grip on the Colt, shadows breathing closer with every step. The prisoner shut his eyes, muttering prayers that stumbled over bloodied lips. The handle turned on the door behind me, slow, careful, cruel. And I knew the next chapter of this case had just kicked open.